Part 57. The Lucky Bag is Reborn with Space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 561. Chapter 561 Doubts. Zhang Xian was beaten to the point of collapse. Standed up and pointed at Zhang Xiaoxiao and Fan Jiuying. His eyes were red and his whole body was trembling. "Mom, why do you hit me? You always protect Xiaoxiao. I am the one with the least status in this family. Eldest sister, the eldest brother-in-law lives in our house. You have never said anything, and you have never said anything to eldest brother-in-law. Brother-in-law is not good. But you always dislike De Zhuang, and De Zhuang doesn't like to come to our house. If you like the eldest sister or the younger sister, I won't say anything. But, at least you have to treat me as an individual. I suffered at the hands of my husband's family, and I brought it upon myself. Who allowed me to give birth to 2 daughters? I have never said that, and I have no complaints, but little one, ask yourself, do you regard me as your biological sister? I have been holding this sentence in my heart for a long time. You give 3,000 yuan to your eldest sister, and you give 3,000 yuan to your brother. Yes, it's your money, and it's up to you how much you want to give it to, but the fact that you gave me 500 yuan is really uncomfortable. Otherwise, don't give it, but what does it mean if you give 500? After saying this, no one would think that you favor one over the other. In your heart, your eldest sister and your third brother are the closest to you, so you give them 3,000 yuan. You dislike me everywhere, so you gave me 500 yuan. Now you are marrying into the Song family. You have a distinguished family, and you look down upon me, the second sister, even more. Is what your brother-in-law said wrong? He means that no one in our family thinks highly of us. I deserved it. After being beaten, I had to go back to my parents' home, knowing that no one in my parents' home would make the decision for me. I have to come back to find my own fault. If you were beaten at your mother-in-law's house, you will be beaten again when you return to your parents' house. I really feel like I might as well be dead. Zhang Xian turned around angrily and walked out the door. Perhaps because he was walking too fast, his head actually hit the door panel, and he fainted. Zhang Xiaoxiao sighed and helped the person to the Kong together with Fan Jiuying. Looking at Zhang Xian, whose face was purple. This second sister is annoying and heart-wrenching. If you say she is a white-eyed wolf, she is not such a person. If she is not, what she said today will definitely make you angry. Fan Jiuying watched Zhang Xiao patting her daughter. Xiaoxiao, please ignore your second sister. She has been petty-minded since she was a child. She is not a bad person, but she doesn't have a big heart at all, and she doesn't know what to do when she does things. From what she said today during those words, I guessed that she had already recorded this resentment in her heart. Although Mom doesn't know why you only gave your second sister 500 yuan, Mom knows that you have your own reasons. You are not the kind of person who is partial. Don't take your second sister's words to heart. Go back, Mom is watching over here. Fan Jiuying was afraid that Zhang Xiaoxiao would really fall out with her second child. Zhang Xiaoxiao shook his head, Mom, I'm not a child. I understand these principles. We grew up together, how could I not know what kind of person the second sister is? If you advise me like this, then I really underestimate your daughter. Do you think you are so polite to me as an outsider in your heart? We are sisters. Even if we quarrel and curse, even if we have a fight, we are still sisters for life. There is no future life. I don't want the misunderstanding between my second sister and me to continue because of the misunderstanding. I also blame myself, because I have money, and when I consider many things, I don't consider my second sister's feelings. I thought I was being nice to her, but I never thought that she might have a knot in her heart. Over the years, I just felt that my second sister was alienated from me. I felt that my second sister was not close to me, so I stayed away from her. These words should have been spoken a long time ago. Why are the two sisters still having such a dispute? Mom, what happened this time is not just that the second sister misunderstood me. I think the Chin family is not that simple. If it is simply because of the second sister, what kind of person is Chin Dazwang? Do you still know? He had been married to his second sister for so many years and never touched her. Why do you have to start now? I always feel that there is something unusual in this matter. Chin Dazwang was not such a person in his previous life. From the bottom of his heart, Zhang Xiaoxiao felt that Chin Dazwang was a good person. Otherwise, she would have persuaded her second sister to divorce Chin Dazwang in this life. The mother in Chin Dazwang's family is not a trouble-free person, and the second sister Zhang Xian is a weakling and cannot stand up at all. Such people can only be bullied by others. The reason for not getting divorced is because Zhang Xiaoxiao doesn't think Zhang Xian can live a better life without Chin Dazwang. I cannot selfishly arrange my second sister's life according to my own wishes. But I didn't expect it at all. Chin Dazwang's current changes are a bit unexpected. Fan Qiuying also sighed, you are right. Mom has been muttering in her heart recently. Since the Chinese New Year last year, you, the second brother-in-law, seem to have changed a little bit. Although I didn't come to our house often before, but every time he comes, he has a very good attitude, talks and laughs with me and your dad, and takes the initiative to do the work. But now they basically don't come to our home, and even if they come to our home, they are very taciturn. Often, he would send your sister and the child to our house, and then he would leave on his own. And now I start beating your sister, not once or twice, I only know these 2 times, but what we don't know is how many beatings your sister has received. Your sister is also incompetent. She always hides these things and never comes home to tell me. I guess I came back this time because I really couldn't hide it anymore. And I keep hearing your sister say recently that the family doesn't have enough money. Your sister and your brother-in-law earn more than 50 yuan a month. How can it not be enough to support 2 daughters? Plus you gave your sister 500 yuan. The couple didn't have much to spend money on. I haven't told you yet, but I secretly gave your sister money twice. I gave 100 to your sister once and 50 to your sister once. There is something wrong with everything about this matter. Do you think Chin Dazwang is gambling with those unscrupulous people outside? The last time Fan Qiuying beat her son was when she found out that her son was actually playing poker with her colleagues from the team. Let's just play, but they actually paid money to play poker. This is serious, this is gambling. After she came back, she beat her son severely with a bamboo whip. Zhang Lei was now honest, so it was easy for Fan Qiuying to consider this. Mainly because now and then a few young people get together to play these things, and the play gets bigger and bigger. I heard that something happened, and the police station used police force to arrest people. Zhang Xiaoxiao was also suspicious, then you'd better ask my third brother to inquire about it. My third brother knows many people. If he goes to the Chin family's dormitory to inquire about something specific, he will always find out something. Result: we can't just let them live like this. Chin Dazwang is now starting to beat people. My sister can't live like this for the rest of her life. You know, a man only hits someone for the first time, and you can never believe that it will be the last time. Zhang Xiaoxiao cannot tolerate a domestically violent man, and it is impossible for his sister to live with such a man. Fan Qiuying agreed. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 562. Chapter 562 Changes. When Zhang Xian woke up, she saw Zhang Yu and Zhang Xiaoxiao in front of her. Fan Qiuying is not here. I can't help but feel my face burning when I think of my arrogance and what I said just now. She is the kind of person who has no courage. The reason she mustered up the courage to say that just now was because Fan Qiuying's slap in the face scared her. After that, all the courage dissipated, and now the whole person was unbelievably weak. Feeling guilty, sad, and worried made Zhang Xian cry. That's why Zhang Xiaoxiaki said that Zhang Xian cannot be considered a bad person. But she has such a character, what can you do to her? Can you really argue with your own sister? Zhang Yu comforted Zhang Xian, just don't cry. What's the point of crying? I admire your courage today if you can express what's in your stomach. If you can show this courage and energy in your future life, I guess your life will be good. It's like this every time, someone else moves it to another place. Okay, let's eat first. I have settled the children down and finished their meal. They are all going to bed now. You also hurry up and fill your stomach. Look at the injury on your face. It's terrible enough. If I don't take care of you, look at what you will become now. I don't know how you live at home. You and your 2 children are so thin. You 2 earn a lot of wages. How come you are like this? Zhang Yu looked at the skinny Zhang Xian, with protruding cheekbones on his face and distinct joints on his wrists, which made people feel distressed. Zhang Yu went to bring the meal. A large bowl of white rice topped with braised chicken nuggets and cabbage tofu. Zhang Xian shed tears after just one look. Zhang Xiaoxiao handed her a towel and said, "Don't cry. This meal is for you to eat, not for you to shed tears." Zhang Xian wiped away her tears and apologized to Zhang Xiaoxiao embarrassedly. "Xiaoxiao, I'm sorry, what I just said was crazy." He carefully looked at the faces of Zhang Xiaoxiao and Zhang Yu, fearing that they would really be angry with him. Zhang Yu shook her head helplessly, "Just eat first. Look at you like that. I am your eldest sister and she is your younger sister. Even if we really quarrel and fight, so what? There is no need to do this. Be careful." Zhang Xian finished her meal in silence. 3 sisters are sitting together. At this moment, Zhang Xian didn't say a word, and the atmosphere became depressed and silent. "Second sister, you have complaints in your heart, no matter how you say it, I never knew what you were thinking. In fact, this is also my fault. When I did this, I didn't tell you about it. I thought I'm good to you. Actually, it's just me who thinks so. I really didn't expect that doing this would actually cause conflicts in your family. I have to apologize to you for this. I can't just say it to myself just because I think it's good for you. Let me tell you the truth, at the beginning I prepared 3,000 yuan for each of you." Zhang Xian was stunned. Zhang Xiaoxiao apologized to her so sincerely, which she never expected. She always thought that this matter was her fault. She was greedy, she wanted the money, and because her life was not going well, she blamed everything on her sister. What does it actually have to do with Zhang Xiaoxiao? Just like her mother said, Zhang Xiaoxiao can give as much money as she wants to anyone. It was because Qin Dazhuan quarreled with her every day and instilled these concepts into her every day that her heart became bigger, so she felt that her sister was unfair to her. To be serious, Zhang Xiaoxiao doesn't owe her anything. Zhang Xiaoxiao is her sister, not her parents. Even if her parents raised her up like this and she has a family and a career, is it possible that they still have any obligations to her? Now Zhang Xiaoxiao apologized to her, and Zhang Xian panicked. "Xiaoxiao, don't say that. The more you say that, the more uncomfortable I feel. This matter has nothing to do with you. It's my fault. It's because I'm becoming more and more greedy. It's because I feel uncomfortable at home. So, hey, it's all my fault, I don't have the ability." Zhang Xiaoxiao laughed out loud and held Zhang Xian's hand tightly. "Second sister, we two will stay here. You admit your mistake and I will admit my mistake. Okay. Even if this matter is revealed, I will treat it as if it never happened. However, you can't hold grudge against me for quarreling with you because of this matter. Otherwise, you are not like my second sister. You are the older sister. Mom often says that older sisters give way to their younger sisters. That is what they should do. Sometimes I can be a little willful, lose my temper, and speak harshly, but who made me your sister? Please forgive me. Zhang Xian nodded vigorously. This is still my sister, a relative of my own. If you look at her, you will see that there is no barrier to her at all. Although the two of them quarreled, after the quarrel, their hearts became closer together. Okay, the knot between you two has been solved, so let's talk about it now. Second brother, what happened to you this time? Why did Qin Dazhuang hit you? And the scars on your body are basically it's not like this is the first time you've been beaten. Are you going to be beaten like this every day? Zhang Yu became extremely angry when she mentioned this matter. Whether a man can do it or not is secondary, but if he hits someone, it is an unforgivable mistake. Zhang Xian touched her face with a bitter expression. To be honest with you, Qin Dazhuang has not beaten me once or twice. In the past year or so, he not only beat me, but also beat two children. Every time, I was protecting the two children, and that's why I was beaten like this. Look. He now has the same tone as his mother, calling the two girls losers at every turn. Moreover, they said that I was useless and could not give birth to a son. Even my family members gave me money, but they treated me so differently and treated me differently, saying that I was just a bastard. It is because of this that I have this resentment in my heart. But think about it and you know, what if I take the money back? To be honest, my family's livelihood now depends entirely on my salary. The last time I gave birth to a child, I listened to Xiao Xiao's words and never gave my salary to my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law didn't treat me well and would always criticize me. I can tolerate all of this. After all, the salary is in my own hands, and I can ensure the livelihood of my children. In the past, Qin Dazhuang secretly gave me bonuses, overtime subsidies, and other things, but since the Chinese New Year last year, I don't know why Qin Dazhuang not only didn't take money from home, but also asked me for money every time. He took away all the little money we had at home, and later he also took away the 500 yuan that Xiao Xiao gave me. I asked him what it was for, and he told me what men do and asked me not to ask. Then I asked him about it and was beaten. Now he doesn't like to go home less and less. He often falls asleep when he comes home and ignores me and the children. I am not happy for him to come back either. When he comes back, my children and I will suffer. The new year is here. To make a long story short, I wish everyone a smooth, happy, and healthy new year. I wish we all live a good life. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Lucky Bag is Reborn with Space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 563. Chapter 563 Crisis. Zhang Xian, are you stupid? Qin Dazhuang treated you like this, and you actually came back to ask Xiao Xiao for money? You never thought that you would definitely not have any sense left if you took the 2,500 yuan back. Qin Dazhuang took it all away. We are buying peace with money, but the question is, can we buy peace? If Qin Dazhuang is very ambitious, he thinks you can get money from your mother's family. In the future, it will be even worse for you and your children. Then you will come back to get money every time. How much money does your family have to fill your hole? Zhang Yu hates the fact that iron cannot become steel, so this sister shouldn't think too much about it. Qin Dazhuang has become like this, and Zhang Xian must also be held responsible. Zhang Xian smiled bitterly, of course I know that, but what can I do? This life has to go on. The children are still young now. I just hope that the children will be older. They will all go to college. My task is also just done. Of course it won't be like this anymore. The only excuse Jean Dazwan can make is the 2,000 and 5,000. For the rest, he is not a man who has to rely on his mother-in-law's family to support him. He doesn't have the face to say this. What else can I do besides endure the beating? Women live like this all their lives. The tone of resignation made Zhang Xiaoqi's teeth itch. Since life is like this, second sister, let's get divorced. Zhang Xian was startled by one sentence. Divorce? No, no. If a divorced woman returns to her parents' home, her parents will be laughed at. Our parents and mom are finally living a more comfortable life now. You all live such a good life. If I get divorced, back at her parents' house, people mention that Zhang Xiaoxiao had a divorced sister. Your face looks beautiful. Zhang Lei is not married yet. If there is a divorced sister with children at home, think about it, who would dare to marry into our family? It's enough for me to harm myself, how can I harm my family members? Zhang Xian's face turned pale with fright. Divorce was a very shameful thing in the 1980s. Many people discriminated against and looked down upon divorced women and their natal families. Zhang Xian's concerns are indeed the concerns of all women in this era. I am more worried about the discriminatory looks and gossips from people in society. Zhang Yu slapped Zhang Xiaoxiao on the back, which was so light that he couldn't even kill a mosquito. Even rolled his eyes. Explanation of Zhang Xiaoxiao's dissatisfaction. Eldest sister, don't look at me like that. What I said is the truth. If you can't get through life, you have to live with humiliation. What are you trying to do? Qin Dazwang is starting to beat the second sister now. If he waits until the child grows up, at least he will still have a child. Over 10 years. Have you ever thought about it? If the second sister is beaten for more than 10 years, can she survive this kind of life? Let me further assume that the second sister just endured it in order to bear the humiliation. For example, in the past 10 years or so, one day I was suddenly beaten to the point where I couldn't bear it any longer. That kind of anger had been building up in my heart until it suddenly burst out at a certain point. Then he killed Qin Dazwang directly, and finally went to jail himself. Is this the result you want? Although everyone is full of sympathy for the second sister, it is absolutely impossible that the matter of going to jail will not exist because of sympathy for you. Because of sympathy for you, it can be treated as if it did not happen. Second sister, have you ever thought about what it would be like without 2 children, or are you prepared to endure it for the rest of your life? Are you going to live like this for the rest of your life, being beaten by him until you are old? You take other people's gossip very seriously, but do you live for others? Who knew you were living so hard and difficult, who knew you were bruised every day and secretly fell asleep with tears in your eyes? Just for the sake of other people's eyes and living in other people's gossip, why do you have to endure it like this? Do you think people should live like this in their lives? Zhang Xiao's novel is a classic case. Many women who have been subjected to domestic violence are shocked when the violence breaks out. Either there is a word, or it breaks out in silence, or it dies in silence. Zhang Xian shook his head. It's not as serious as you said. Who would live a happy life without fighting and making trouble? After all, he is the child's father. Although I think it's wrong for him to hit someone, I still feel the same every time he hits me. You will feel that you want to kill him, but the child is still so young. If the father is really gone, how will I live as a woman with a child? Children without fathers will be looked down upon when they go to school and work in the future. I've been like this myself, and I can survive through humiliation. But we can't harm the children too. Zhang Xian is still a traditional housewife. She has no fundamental understanding of men hitting women. She just thinks it is a simple matter between husband and wife. The parties involved didn't take it seriously at all. What about Lottie and Zayadai? Zhang Xian said strangely, they are both fine. This matter has nothing to do with them. I will protect them and prevent them from being beaten by your brother-in-law. She did everything a mother should do. In order to protect her children, she was beaten so badly by Qin Dazhuang. Lottie and Zhao Di saw their mother being beaten and kicked by their father every day, living in hell. When they grow up, will they still dare to get married? Will the fear in their hearts allow them to get married? This kind of shadow will make them fear men all their lives, have no sense of security, and do not believe in the so-called married life in this world. What the second sister hopes is that after they are raised, they will never get married because of their fear of their husbands and fear of marriage. This is what you want. Speaking of children, Zhang Xian's inner weakness was immediately touched. No, it's impossible, I'm not, Zhang Xian choked with sobs. The fear in her heart made her anxious. For the first time, she realized that maybe her thoughts were simple. Zhang Yu held down Zhang Xiaoxiao and continued. Zhang Xian, although what Xiaoxiao said is a bit exaggerated, you must face up to the problem, he said. You can tolerate it for yourself, but have you ever thought about whether the children want to see such parents living together? And the problem you mentioned is not a problem with Qin Dazhuang at all. He is not just a problem of beating people now. There must be an explanation as to where the money he and you took was spent. As a couple living together, it is impossible to say that he took the money unilaterally and did not inform you of the use of the money. If he has some bad habits, I won't say whether he has gender issues. Let's talk about the simplest question: if he gambles with other people outside, or do something bad, then this is not something you can just endure for a while. I'm afraid this life will be in dire straits. You simply think that you can endure it for a while, but then one day he goes crazy with gambling. Even his wife and children can lose to others at the table. In his mind, his 2 daughters are losers and he doesn't pay any attention to them at all. Then he may directly give the 2 children to others to pay off the debt. At that time, do you think you can protect 2 children by yourself? Zhang Xian almost fell down. Yeah, what if Qin Dazhuang learned to gamble now? What about their mother and daughter? End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 564. Chapter 564. Women are human beings too. Then what should I do? If it was just a matter of her own, Zhang Xian might think that she would choose to endure it. But it concerns her 2 daughters. In her mind, these 2 children are her lifeblood. Even though her mother-in-law and her husband have always said that the children are money losers, for Zhang Xian, these 2 children are her life. It is the only pillar in her life that can bring light and warmth. She will not tolerate anything that harms her children. She will fight tooth and nail for her children. Zhang Xiaoxiao couldn't help but admire the eldest sister. She still grasped the key point. My own words are not enough to touch people's hearts. This is what Zhang Xian needs. Zhang Xian grabbed Zhang Yu and Zhang Xiaoxiao. Sister, little sister, you have to help me. If something like this really happens, what should I do? No, I can't live with him like this. Qin Dazhuang has been returning to his home at every turn recently. He came home from time to time asking for money, and even took away the change from the child's piggy bank. Like the eldest sister is right, I also think that his current situation is not right. What if he gambles? Because gambling, it is not uncommon for a family to go bankrupt and be ruined. Hold on to the 2 of them as if they were holding on to life-saving straws. Don't worry. This time he beat you back home. It's a good thing to go back to your parents' house. Let's take this opportunity to tell everything. If Qin Dazu doesn't explain the matter clearly, we won't finish it. In the next 2 days, I will ask your brother-in-law and Zhang Lei to help you find out what happened with Qin Dazhuang. As long as he has done anything, there will always be clues left behind. It's impossible for people around us not to know, and we always need to know what happened at Chin Dazu's place. It's easy for us to deal with it. He hit you. In theory, he should come to our house today or tomorrow to apologize and take you and your child back. You must have a tough attitude on this matter, and you can't just say a simple apology and that's it. Last time, you gave in too easily and followed him and the child back. Only then will he hit you harder and harder later. Take a look at what it looks like now. Zhang Yu also thinks that things can't just be settled like this. Zhang Xiaoxiao nodded, second sister, I think I'll take you to the hospital now. Zhang Xian shook her head, there's no need to go to the hospital. I have minor injuries all over my body. What I didn't say was that going to the hospital would cost money. You have to go to the hospital. You must go to the hospital first to prove that you were really injured by him. This is evidence when you get divorced one day in the future. Do you want your 2 children to follow Chin Dazuang? So you have to make some preparations in advance. If you don't have long-term worries, you will have immediate worries. You don't have to worry about money. I only gave you 500 yuan at the beginning. I didn't give them 3,000 yuan like the eldest sister and third brother. I just want to keep the remaining 2,500 yuan with me for you to use for emergencies. Because I'm worried that the money I gave to you will all be spent on the Chin family in the end. You may call me selfish, but I really felt that there were no good people in the Chin family at that time. If you spent all this money on them, you would be feeding white-eyed wolves at most, which would not do you or your children any good. You are my sister, and I can only think about you. The mother-in-law of the Chin family treats you so badly, and she still hopes to enjoy the blessings and take advantage of you. There is no way. Zhang Xian burst into tears, holding Zhang Xiaoxiao in her arms and crying. I'm sorry, Xiaoxiao, I misunderstood you. I always thought that you were partial, that you looked down on me, that you were belittling me. Now I know that you, my sister, really care about me, my sister. I am not as good as you, not as good as my eldest sister, and not as good as anyone in the family. I have lived in these years without understanding at all, and I am not as understanding as you, my younger sister. Zhang Xian felt really guilty. She had no idea that her sister's refusal to give her money was actually for her own good. When these words were spoken, Zhang Xian really felt ashamed. When I yelled at my family so loudly, I thought I had vented my inner anger and grievance. Now I realize how ignorant and narrow-minded that was, and that her family was really good to her. The only people who are truly good to her, tolerant of her, and considerate of her are her own family members. She really misunderstood Zhang Xiaoxiao. Zhang Xiaoxiao wiped her tears. When I say this to you, I don't mean that I have to divorce you. I'm just telling you that you have a strong backing from your family. As long as you have the courage to face all this, we will be your support and protect you and your family, protect children. Don't think so much about gossip and embarrassment. Will our family still be afraid of this? Are parents still afraid of this? Do you think that when parents see their daughters beaten like this by others, they will just tell their daughters like other parents do? Go back and live a good life. The couple fights at the end of the bed and at the end of the bed. Do you think our parents are like that? Your older sisters, younger brothers, parents. All your family members are behind you, and only if you are strong can you protect your children. Whether you choose to divorce or not, we will support you. Divorce means returning home. You have a legitimate job and a fixed income to support you and your children. That is rich and abundant. Without other people's involvement, your life will be much more comfortable. Is it baffling that you are not raising your children by yourself now? What is the difference between divorce and divorce? If you don't choose divorce, then we must let Chin Dazuang remember this lesson forever and never hit a woman. And let him always remember how to respect women and how to take care of his wife and children. If he can't learn this, you can give up on this man. If his heart is not with you and the children, what do you think is the point of living this life? Why do you have to compromise? If it's for your children, I don't think you should compromise. Two children need a warm and safe living environment to make them positive. Do you hope that what they endure every day is the beating from their father and the scolding from their grandmother? All day long, I humbly think that I am a loser. If you think so, I will really look down on your second sister. Women are also human beings, and they should live a life of self-reliance and self-reliance. No one stipulates that women must live a humble life, must give birth to sons, and must compromise for the sake of their children. You have the right to pursue happiness. Zhang Xiaoxiu's words aroused a lot of courage in Zhang Xiaoxiu's heart. Yeah, what is she afraid of? She often thinks resentfully every night, why is it a sin to give birth to a daughter? When you give birth to a daughter, you will be insulted and scolded by your mother-in-law, and you will be looked down upon by others. Women are human beings too. I have envied my eldest sister many times, and my eldest sister also gave birth to a daughter, but my eldest brother-in-law still takes great care of my eldest sister, and loves his daughter as if he is my lifeblood. Why can't I meet such a good man? But if you think about it seriously, does it have nothing to do with you? She often made concessions, and every concession allowed others to make further progress. And then it became like this. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 565. Chapter 565 Cliché. Zhang Xian was sent to the hospital. After a series of examinations, the doctors in the hospital looked at him with suspicion. There are constant scars all over her body, and there is a slight bone fracture in her left femoral arm. I don't know how this woman can endure such pain, and she doesn't care so much. An injury appraisal certificate was issued, and Zhang Xiaoxiao found a camera to take photos as a souvenir. These are all evidence. Although the second sister may not be divorced, the evidence can only be preserved to be prepared. When their side was tightening the arrangement of the drums, Qin Dazhuang finally woke up. Zhang Xian, give me a glass of water, I'm dying of thirst. Jiangxin. The room was quiet with no movement at all. Qin Dazhuang finally turned over. He used his hands to block the sunlight that hit his eyes. He sat up and took a look. The room was in a mess. The bottle from which he drank last night was still poured on the table. The ground was a mess with broken cups and plates. Qin Dazhuang sighed. It looked like he was drunk and crazy again last night. Who can be blamed for this? It's not all Zhang Xian's fault. Dazhuang, have you gotten up? What's wrong with you, lazy bitch? What time is it and you still haven't gotten up to cook? Look at how you've spoiled your wife. Mother of Qin shouted outside. Qin Dazhuang stood up. Mom, are you done? Zhang Xian has gone back to her parents' home, you can cook for yourself. Picked up the wine bottle and took a sip, and suddenly thought of the money in his pocket. He won a lot of money last night. I have never played cards so smoothly in my life. I won more than 100 yuan in one night. The people coaxed him to treat him to a meal, but he didn't agree. When he returned home, he bought 2 bottles of wine and asked Zhang Xian to cook him something to go with it. It was originally a happy thing. He also wanted to show off to Zhang Xian that he finally made money. Who would have thought that Zhang Xian would give him a bad look and would scold him at every turn? Said he often didn't go home and didn't care about the children. He got drunk and hit Zhang Xian. Now he suddenly recalled that he might have lost control last night. I remember that I kicked and hit her all over the face. It is estimated that Zhang Xian will be injured. If she is injured, she will definitely take the child back to her parents' home. Isn't this a woman who can behave like this? Go back to your parents' home. Marry into our Lao Qin's family and go back to your parents' home every now and then. Even a man like you is left at home. After giving birth to 2 losers, you still have the nerve to go back to your parents' home. I tell you, you can't. Go pick up your daughter-in-law and let her live in her parents' home. I still don't believe it. Without her, our old Qin family would not be able to survive. Also, you have to take into account what your mother tells you, no matter how old you are. Divorce her immediately. Get a daughter-in-law and come in. Let me tell you that Qifen in the village is easy to have children at first glance. There are 5 brothers and 2 sisters in their family. The married sister all gave birth to sons. Let me tell you, don't worry about it. When the time comes, you won't have a queen, and no one will throw a clay pot for you even if you die. Mother of Qin continued her usual talk. It is a great sin to have no sons. Qin Dazhuang held his breath. I know, you still want me to have a son now. Do you think our family can marry another daughter-in-law in the current situation? If I divorce Zhang Xian, how can I get a daughter-in-law? You have money in your hand, or I have money in my hand. You can use all the little money I have to support my eldest sister. Don't think I don't know. You kept telling me that it was for my sake. If I really got divorced, you would pay for me to get a wife. Qin Dazhuang doesn't think life is bad now. For Zhang Xian, the 2 of them are actually in a free relationship. He has always been very good to his wife, but for some reason, he came back to pick her up after the Chinese New Year last year. After returning home, I began to see all kinds of unpleasant things about my daughter-in-law. What was once tenderness and affection began to turn into punches and kicks. He always felt that there was an evil fire in his heart, and when he saw the fire in Zhang Xian, it started to burn up. But if he was really asked to divorce, he would not be willing to leave her. After all, she was his wife and his daughter. He still has an objective understanding of himself. If he is divorced and has no money at his age, he will find someone to marry. Just say it so happily. Doesn't it cost money to get a wife? Mother of Qin is silent. She has no money. Although her son's monthly salary is given to her, this son is also thoughtful now. She is only given half of her salary each time. The little money she has in hand must be saved for retirement, and on the other hand, it must be given to her eldest daughter. The eldest daughter is having a hard time. If her mother's family doesn't give her a little money, I'm afraid the eldest son-in-law will not give his daughter a good face. Mother of Qin wanted to raise a son for old age. But it was she who brought Qin Dazhuang back, and she kept this matter secret from Qin Dazhuang, and even the neighbors didn't know about it. At that time, she went back to the countryside with a pregnant belly to give birth to a baby. Who knew something happened on the way back to her hometown and the baby was dead? Still a boy. Qin's mother had no choice but to regret it. She was afraid that she would not be able to explain the matter to her husband, so in the end she could only hug a boy she picked up in the village. When her husband saw the birth of a son, he was very kind to Qin's mother, so naturally he couldn't mention this matter. No one knows about this except her mother, and now her mother is gone. No one knows about this matter. She will definitely swallow it and will not let outsiders know that Qin Dazhuang is not her biological child. But when doing things, she is naturally biased towards her own children. This is also why Qin's mother keeps saying that she favors sons over daughters, but she doesn't favor sons over daughters at all in what she does. You are still not my son. Are you talking humanly? If your wife doesn't give birth to a son, then she blames me. It's not that I won't let her give birth to a son for you. If she can give birth to a son, will I still be nagging here? Who am I doing good for, not you? If you don't have a son, if I don't treat your sister better, I won't count on you having a few nephews when you get old. Qin Dazhuang had a headache. If he opened his mouth, it would shoot out like a machine gun. Okay, okay. You are doing this for my own good. For my own good, just worry a little bit, shut up, and let me wait for a while. Also, let me tell you, I can't even count on my own daughter. Come on, how many nephews can I count on? You don't know the virtues of those nephews. They are not good to my sister, so how can they be good to me? Who do you think I am? Can I be as kissable as their own mother? The whole family has never asked you, that is to say, you are not smart and just give away money at every turn. How to cultivate their family into such a virtuous manner, as if the money I earn is for their family. Let me tell you, starting from this month I will not pay you my salary. You have a lot of money in your own hands. Don't think that I don't know how much salary I have paid you over the years. The money you have saved is enough for your retirement. Besides, if you eat and drink at my house, what more pension money do you need? Qin Dazhuang thought that he didn't have enough money to spend, and his salary was not enough, so why should he give it to his eldest sister? Extra number, extra number. There's a surprise on the fourth. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Lucky Bag is Reborn with Space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 566. Chapter 566, Bruised Nose and Swollen Face. Qin Dazhuang, what do you mean? You don't even support me now, I raise you, a white-eyed wolf. Mother of Qin was shocked. If you have no money, what will you do with your daughter, and what will you do with yourself? You have to rely on this son, and you don't have to look at what the son is like now. Don't think she doesn't know. She spends all day gambling outside and then drinks and beats her wife when she comes back. Such a son will have nothing to hope for when he gets old. If you want to say that I am a white-eyed wolf, then I am a white-eyed wolf. Let me tell you, I will have no money in the future anyway, so you can take care of yourself. Now, I am going to my mother-in-law's house to pick up my wife. You can do it without your daughter-in-law. I don't want a wife who can cook and wash clothes for me. Qin Dazhuang was full of ruffian spirit, got up and left. Mother of Qin was left there cursing. It's a pity that no one paid attention to her. Qin Dazhuang sorted himself out and went directly to Zhang Lishi's house. Before entering the door, he had already thought about it. As soon as he entered, he would kneel down and admit his mistake, and slap himself in the mouth. Anyway, he would admit his mistake in various ways to coax Zhang Xian back. My father-in-law and mother-in-law are both soft-hearted people, especially Zhang Xian. As he said, Zhang Xian will not go back. How can he live alone? He has never thought about divorce. No matter what, he still has a wife and children. Although I have no son, I will have Zhang Xian when I get old in the future. As long as Zhang Xian is here, I will have someone to take care of me when I get old. He really didn't count on others. As soon as you enter the door, Qin Dazhuang knelt down in the yard. Zhang Xian, I was wrong. I drank too much yesterday. I didn't expect that I was stupid and injured you. I was wrong. Cracking is 2 slaps. Qin Dazhuang was really willing to put in the effort. He slapped himself red in the face with 2 slaps. When he heard the sound, everyone in the room immediately came out. As soon as Qin Dazhuang saw Zhang Lishi, he cried and hugged Zhang Lishi's thigh. Dad, I was wrong. I am not a human being. I didn't expect that I was drunk yesterday. Just do it if you hurry up. It's all mine. Wrong, you hit me, you scolded me. Zhang Lishi is very easy to talk to. Qin Dazhuang was convinced that Zhang Lishi would not really hit him. With the temperament of his mother-in-law and father-in-law, he could not do such a thing. The people in this family are too shameless. His move was very shameless, it was just a shameless way of asking for face from others. Whoever is shameless is invincible. Zhang Lishi did not take action. Zhang Xiaoxiao winked at Zhang Lei and Fan Jiangguo. Fan Jiangguo and Zhang Lei made an agreement yesterday and rushed forward without saying a word. there was a family meeting at their home. Fan Jiangguo, Zhang Lei, and Qin Ming all went out to inquire, and they actually found out something. This Qin Dazhuang has not learned well in the past year or so. He has been playing cards and gambling with others outside and lost a lot of money. I heard that he lost at least more than 1,000 yuan. And I heard that the more we fight, the bigger it gets. At this time, even Fan Qiuying and Zhang Lishi couldn't stand Qin Dazhuang. Although they do not support their daughter's divorce, the matter of gambling is a big or small matter. Many people sell their children and daughters for gambling, and even go bankrupt and lose their families. Although they don't want their daughter to get divorced, they can't watch their daughter stay in this pit of fire. In Zhang Xiaoxio's words, people who gamble have no humanity at all, and selling children and daughters is considered a minor offense. What if he sold his wife that day? With Zhang Xian's temperament, would he still be able to survive? The important thing is that Qin Dazhuang also beats people. Now he not only gambles, but also beats his wife. Taken together, Qin Dazhuang would be unable to write down all these areas. How dare you beat your wife now that you still have the ability? Not only did you beat your wife, but you also went out to gamble and owe a lot of debt. You think we don't know? You have lost more than 1,000 yuan now. Money. I have already asked about it. Not only did you lose so much money, but you also owed 300 or 400 yuan to someone else. Fan Jiangguo knocked people down with one kick. Zhang Lei punched him with a panda eye. Qin Dazhuang is usually rough and tough, and he always beats others. How have you ever been beaten by others? The brother-in-law seems to be dishonest on weekdays, but the brother-in-law has never touched him. With this move, he realized that people usually let him go. This fist was very hard and powerful. When he punched it, gold stars appeared in front of his eyes. You still dare to gamble? Is it against you? You still dare to hit my sister? I will let you hit someone. I will let you taste what it feels like to be beaten. She is a woman. Just give in if you don't say so. My own daughter-in-law, protect my own wife. That's good for you. That's all I have is the ability to go home and beat my wife. Zhang Lei was not polite at all. Seeing the miserable look of his second sister, he had already become very angry. His parents have taught him since he was a child that girls should be pampered a little, given up a little, and protected a little. Although he is not married yet or has a wife, he has always known that his sisters should be loved since he was a child. Who knew that she would marry into someone else's family and be beaten by others? In the past, he had a good relationship with several brothers-in-law and brothers-in-law, just because he thought they all had good personalities. You see how closely the eldest brother-in-law protects his eldest sister and the children. He himself can be a little wronged, but his wife and children must not be wronged. Once, the eldest sister met a young gangster on the way out. He blocked the eldest sister's bicycle and made obscene remarks. The eldest brother-in-law hit his head with a brick from behind and his head was bleeding. Because of that, the eldest brother-in-law was detained for 3 days. Just like that, the eldest brother-in-law even told the gangster who was locked up together that he would kill anyone who dared to bully his wife. It scares people so much that they apologize again and again. This is like a man. Qin Dazhuang is not bad. He looks kind and calm on weekdays and doesn't talk. Who would have thought that he would go back behind his family's back to beat his wife and children? Is this something humans do? We are still gambling now, but when the time comes to gamble, we will not be able to take the second sister and the children. Zhang Lei was merciless at all, punching and kicking him. His sister told him not to hold back his hands when hitting him. If he is hit once, he will be frightened. Don't hit the vital parts, but don't worry about other places. It doesn't matter if you break the arms or legs. Let him know that the Zhang family is not easy to bully and has many people to support them. After beating him, he is not afraid even if he goes to the police. The police will come. This is also a family matter. Those men who commit domestic violence often use this as an excuse. Zhang Xiaoxiao has already thought of an excuse and has it ready. Qin Dazhuang expected failure. He was pushed hard to the ground and rubbed. Fan Jiangguo, Qin Ming, and Zhang Lei are playing a three-person mixed game. Qin Dazhuang really regretted it. How can he send someone to beat someone when he is fine? After all, if something like this happens, he will definitely not be able to come to the door. Even if you secretly block Zhang Xian outside, you only need to coax Zhang Xian back. It's better now, it's easy to beat him. For the first time, I also realized that if my father-in-law didn't care about him before, then he really didn't care about him. Now we have to calculate. He, Qin Dazhuang, cannot defeat the whole family of his father-in-law. The father-in-law hasn't started yet, and Song Moding hasn't come out yet. If these people take action, they will still have their own way of survival. Qin Dazhuang squatted on the ground with a bruised nose and swollen face. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 567. Chapter 567 Determined to get a divorce. Okay, don't fight anymore. Zhang Lishi spoke. Zhang Lei gave Qin Dazhuang a hard kick in the end. Let me tell you, if you dare to hit anyone again or touch a hair of my sister, I will tell you directly why the flowers are so red. Qin Dazhuang nodded pitifully, with a smile on his face. The bruises and swelling on his face combined with this smile made people look really ferocious. I know, I won't dare to do it again. With a smile on his face, he said good things to Zhang Xian, who was standing aside and watching him coldly. Zhang Xian, I was wrong. I was really wrong. Please forgive me this time. I promise not to hit you or your children in the future. I also promise that I will never go gambling again. I will never play with them for money. Let's live a good life. Zhang is soft-spoken and prone to compromise. Now in front of my parents, I will ask you once, what did you do with the money you took from me? Zhang Xian felt cold when she thought of this man gambling. Humbling for a man to gamble is basically the same as breaking up his family. Her desire to forgive this man has faded away. She is afraid that her daughter will be escorted to the gambling table by this man in the future, and she will not be able to cry by then. Even for her daughter, she must be cruel. Qin Dazhuang hesitated and hesitated, knowing that he couldn't hide it. Anyway, his father-in-law and mother-in-law all knew his details today, so he might as well just tell it directly. If there is any mistake, solve it today and save yourself the trouble of having to deal with it later. Part of that money was given to my mother, and the other part was lost in gambling, but I swear, I will make good money in the future and make up for all the money. Can't I give it all to you after I earn wages? Qin Dazhuang was eager to save his wife, and he dared to say anything and make any guarantee. Zhang Xian replied coldly, no, you don't need to give the money you earn in the future to me. I have no control over whether you want to give it to your mother or keep it for yourself to continue gambling. Qin Dazhuang was trembling in his heart. These words did not sound like good words. Daughter-in-law, don't be angry. I did something wrong before, and I know I was wrong. I will live a good life in the future and promise not to engage in gambling again. I will never associate with those unscrupulous people again. I'll give you my salary, can't we live a good life? This is what Zhang Xian talked about all the time before. Qin Dazhuang thought that this might impress his wife. No need. Mom and Dad, I want to divorce Qin Dazhuang. Zhang Xian announced her decision categorically. Divorce? Wife, why are you like this? You see, I was beaten and scolded today. I also admitted my mistake and promised not to do it again in the future. Why are you still holding on? You said that divorce is the right thing to do. Who is good? Parents are shameless, older sisters, Younger brothers will all be laughed at because of this, and children cannot live without their parents. Besides, you are a divorced woman, so you are not afraid of being laughed at when you go out. I have already promised that I will never make a mistake again. Why don't I change it? You can't even give birth to a son, so I didn't say anything. You can't divorce me just because of this. Wouldn't it make people laugh if you said this? Qin Dazhuang was anxious. He had never thought that Zhang Xian would divorce him. How could Zhang Xian divorce him with his character? But today Zhang Xian actually said such words. He immediately realized that something was wrong. His wife was cruel. Turning around to beg Zhang Lishi and Fan Qiuying. Mom and Dad, I know I was wrong. I was not a human before, and what I did was not human. But I really want to change. Starting today, I will change my mind and be a new person. I will treat Zhang Xian well. To children. Just say something. Is this divorce a good thing? If a good family is separated, what will happen to the children in the future? Fan Qiuying took a look at the bruises on her daughter's face. Don't stop us old couple with your words. We are not afraid of embarrassment, and we are not afraid of being laughed at. Besides, you are like this, and you are still afraid of being laughed at? I married a good daughter to live with you. Yes, we are living as a couple, and you talk to my daughter with your fists. You can beat my daughter today, but you will never stop it from now on. Don't think that Zhang Xian doesn't have her mother-in-law. She has her mother-in-law's family to love her. You beat her and you can't get over it, and your gambling is so easy to quit. Your words are fooling people. When one day the family is destroyed and you kill my daughter and my granddaughter, then I will have no place to cry. Zhang Lishi made the decision. Yes, let's get divorced, Zhang Xian. Your parents support you. Our family has a lot of houses. Don't worry, the house next door will be for you and the children to live in the future. Although your mother and I are retired, our retirement salary is enough. Even if it is a subsidy for raising your children, it will be enough for you. You have 100 concerns. This is a reassurance for my daughter. Zhang Lishi and Fan Qiuying have always given absolute trust and freedom to their children's education. Their family is not the kind of family that would wrong their children just to save face. Qin Dazhuang was really soft now. Honey, I was wrong, I was really wrong. He never expected to get divorced. Zhang Xian looked desolate. At this time, Qin Dazhuang was still saying a simple I was wrong. Qin Dazhuang, let's get a divorce. The two daughters belong to me. Your mother and you have always wanted a son. You can find someone to give birth to him. I won't delay the inheritance of your Qin family. There is no property in the family. The house is divided by your work unit. Has nothing to do with me, and I don't want it either. There is no savings. If you still have a little bit of conscience, you can repay the debts you owe yourself and open a letter of introduction tomorrow morning. Zhang Xian made up his mind. If she was a little hesitant at first because of the relationship between husband and wife, after all, the couple had lived together for so many years, and they were in love at the beginning and had the happiest and sweetest moments. Qin Dazhuang has always been protective of her, but who knew that after this year, the marriage between the couple would become more and more intense. Qin Dazhuang not only started beating people, but also gambled. It is unbearable enough for a man to hit someone, just like the two daughters in Zhang Xiao's novel will be frightened in the future, and it will make the children's education even worse. Now I still gamble. Zhang Xian will not put her daughter in such danger. One day in the future, this man will really sell his two children. Zhang Xian would like to kill someone. Rather than killing people in the future, it is better to nip this possibility in the bud now. Let's get together and part ways. Zhang Xian, don't get a divorce. I really don't want a divorce. I'll change it. It's not enough for me to change it. I really want to change it. Qin Dazhuang hugged Zhang Xian's legs tightly and cried like a child. Zhang Xian felt soft and turned around to see his two ignorant daughters looking at the couple with blurry eyes. But he didn't dare to come over. "My heart aches." Clenched his teeth and pulled Qin Dazhuang's hand away. "If you don't get a divorce, I will go to the court to file for divorce. I have an injury certificate from the hospital, and the child will definitely not be awarded to you. You have to think clearly." Took the two children and walked away quickly. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 568. Chapter 568. So that's it? Qin Dazhuang got up and hugged Zhang Lishi's legs again. He was kicked out by Zhang Lei. "I'm telling you, my sister wants to divorce you. Don't show up at my door again, or I'll beat you every time I see you." The door was slammed shut. Qin Dazhuang wiped away his tears, hatred rising in his heart. The Zhang family wanted to dump him just like that? No way. Zhang Lei and his parents returned to the house. Fan Jiangguo smoked. "Sister, are Zhang Xian and his wife really going to divorce? Seeing that my niece is living like this, she is going to end up getting divorced. How can a woman live with two children? I feel vaguely worried for my eldest sister and brother-in-law, who have retired. Although the retirement salary is quite high, Zhang Lei is not married yet, so there is still a lot of money to spend, and now the second son is divorced and comes back with the child. I won't say anything else. If it's because of other things, I would advise the second brother to endure it. But if this man gambles, you should know that it is light to lose everything. There are so many families where men gamble and end up ruining their families. I can't just watch the second brother and his children jump into the fire pit. It's better to divorce. There are 3 of them, and your sister and I can afford some subsidies." Zhang Lishi is trying to reassure his brother-in-law. "Otherwise, let Zhang Xian work in my shop, and you can earn more a month. My shop can earn at least more than 60 yuan a month, which is much more than her factory salary. Moreover, by working 2 shifts, she can have more time, and she can take care of her children, which is better than working in a factory." Fan Jiangguo said, "The store he contracted has been open for more than a year, and the business is very good, earning tens of thousands of dollars a year. Now his own daughter-in-law Lu Huilai is thinking about receiving labor insurance and working in a store." Fan Jiuying shook her head. "Forget it. How can your wife be easy to get along with? Their relatives in the store said several times that they wanted to go in, but you didn't let go. My brother-in-law is eager to get in. Now let Zhang Xian go. There's still no fight in your store. It doesn't matter what you do, it's hard to refuse anyone. If there is any conflict between relatives, just say that you are not a good person inside or outside. Forget it. She works in the factory honestly, and her father and I can help her take care of the child, so we can't let her suffer anyway." Fan Jiuying disagreed. Her sister-in-law was too narrow-minded and stingy, and controlled Fan Jiangguo's financial power. Fan Jiangguo's store is not in the hands of Fan Jiangguo alone now. Fan Jiuying will not let her children affect her younger brother's life. Fan Jiangguo wants to say something else. Zhang Lishi waved his hand to stop him from continuing. "I know you mean well, but you really shouldn't do this. Your wife is pregnant now, and it's hard to get pregnant. I think it's not worth the trouble. Zhang Xian can survive without going to your store. Don't worry. The brother-in-law is really kind-hearted, and they can't really embarrass the brother-in-law." Fan Jiangguo had no choice but to remain silent. I also sighed in my heart. How could such a good girl like Zhang Xian encounter such a thing? The next day, Qin Dazhuang and Zhang Xian divorced. Zhang Xian and her 2 children didn't want anything. In fact, they didn't have anything at home, so they moved directly back to Jiang's house. Fang Ziyuwei couldn't help but be pleasantly surprised when she saw that her unlucky value had actually increased by 500. With her broken system, there is no difference between having it and not having it. It is not that easy to get this bad luck value, because this bad luck value can only be received after she personally causes damage to the other party. Can you be so quiet that it's unfortunate? It is impossible for Fang Xiaowai to go out and push others downstairs, then she will not be a murderer. It's not that easy to bring bad luck to others, and it's simply out of reach for her to exchange the bad luck for something in the mall. In more than a year, I have only redeemed that crazy gambler's powder once. That's still the remaining points from the unlucky value that was gained from the time when Song's mother was unlucky. I took the opportunity to put it into the sugar water I gave Qin Dazhuang. It was colorless and tasteless. I didn't expect Qin Dazhuang to become like this before. Fang Xiaowai wanted to collect unlucky points from others, but whoever allowed the points to be redeemed was a big deal. The mall almost used up all her points in one exchange. The few remaining points can't even be exchanged for shit. At that time, she was very resentful that the Zhang sisters were living a comfortable life. I have to bear such pain. Feeling unwilling to do so. Intention to harm others. Of course, this medicinal powder was originally intended for Zhang Lei to drink. Because Fang Xiaowai especially wanted to see what would happen to Fan Qiuying and Zhang Lishi if a prodigal son was born in the Zhang family. Is it to kill one's relatives out of righteousness, or is it to be dragged down by Zhang Lei to the point of death? On the one hand, others are unlucky, and on the other hand, you can relieve your own misfortune. Who knew that Zhang Lei was injured at that time? Zhang Xiaoxiao was very protective of Zhang Lei. The whole family is very close to Zhang Lei, and Fang Xiaowai has stopped interacting with the Zhang family for a long time. I really can't find a good excuse or reason for Zhang Lei to drink this glass of water. It can't be wasted, so this glass of water was given to Qin Dazhuang. Fang Xiaowai had carefully considered choosing Qin Dazhuang as her brother-in-law. She still secretly approached Qin Dazhuang, using the excuse that her parents had severed ties with her. She had just given birth to a child, and her husband's family was very unkind to her, so she wanted to ask her second brother-in-law if he could say something nice to her in front of her parents. Fang Xiaowai has always used her own little white flower persona. Sitting in the coffee shop wiping his tears and crying with his child in his arms, Qin Dazhuang had never seen such a battle. Of course I was frightened and at a loss. In addition, I had never drank a luxury product like coffee. It was as bitter as the medicinal soup, but it was also very expensive. The powder was easy for him to drink. She has been waiting to reap Qin Dazhuang's unlucky points for a long time. But for some unknown reason, there have always been very few points. The pitiful points of more than 100 were not enough for her to exchange for things. Now there is. Fang Xiaowai hurriedly checked, 500 points. Why? Too little. She has always wanted to win the favor of MRS Song. This is her biggest reliance on defeating Zhang Xiaoxiao and occupying a favored position in this family. Just to make Zhang Xiaoxiao regret it, to make Zhang Xiaoxiao completely defeated, just to make Zhang Xiaoxiao have nothing and be in vain. So Fang Xiaowai was holding back her energy, just waiting to redeem the most beloved person powder. The wait is finally here. Fang Xiaowai was so excited that she almost breathed her last. Finally waiting for you. Holding the medicinal powder she exchanged, Fang Xiaowai trembled with excitement. He went straight to Mr. Song's house as soon as possible. But when she arrived at Mr. Song's house, she immediately backed down because there were too many people at home. Zhang Xiaoxiao is not at home, but Song Moding and Mr. Wu and MRS Wu are here. Tang Yuan can now walk. The almost 2-year-old child can walk quite steadily and can speak a lot of simple words. The little guy made everyone laugh at home. Grinning his small mouth with more than a dozen teeth, he smiled heartlessly. Fang Xiaowai had a hard time finding opportunities. There were so many people, so he had to find a way to drug the water himself, so he could easily be caught. Fang Xiaowai had no choice but to quit and go home. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Lucky Bag is Reborn with Space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 569. Chapter 569, Developing Ideas. Zhang Xian was busy washing clothes at home. When I came home from the factory, my expression was very bad. Zhang Yu looked wrong and asked several times but still couldn't figure it out. Zhang Xiaoxiao came back and saw his second sister washing clothes like crazy, and then received Zhang Yu's eyes. She knew very well that the second sister was being hit. Second sister, stop washing. Just tell me what's on your mind. We are all sisters. What can't we say? Tell us, and we can find a way to help you solve it. If you keep silent like this, you are sulking. You can only be angry with yourself. I am a doctor. People who are often sulky will have a bad liver and get sick easily. Think about it, you still have 2 daughters you haven't raised yet. Zhang Xiaoxiao wasn't trying to scare her. Zhang Xian threw down the clothes in her hands and burst into tears. Only then did Zhang Xiaoxiao understand the meaning of the intermittent words. It turned out that after she returned to the factory, everyone knew about her divorce. Many people were there and made sarcastic remarks to attack her. Especially the old ladies in the workshop who always talked about her divorce. It is said that she is unwilling to be lonely, willing to degenerate and attract bees and butterflies. Otherwise, if a woman has a good family, why would she want a divorce? In the eyes of outsiders, Qin Dazhuan can be regarded as a practical, capable, and honest man. If you don't want such an honest person, it only means that Zhang Xian has something wrong with him. It's just 1 or 2 days, but it will still be like this for a month or 2, with everyone pointing fingers behind my back. Zhang Xian couldn't bear it herself, although she had long thought that after the divorce, she would definitely have to bear the glare of others. But when I rolled my eyes, I realized that hearing these gossips made me feel really uncomfortable, and I wished I was dead. The most important thing is that people say these gossips behind your back instead of in front of you. And it's not just about Zhang Xian himself, but also the entire Zhang family. Zhang Yu and Zhang Xiaoxiao will also be brought in. These old ladies are mouthy and poisonous, and can throw out any unpleasant words. Zhang Xian felt so uncomfortable after hearing this. She herself was told that she was not afraid, but when others said so to her family members, the feeling in her heart was really overwhelming. Zhang Xian is not the kind of person who can quarrel with others. After a few times, Zhang Xian became completely wilted. She hardly said a word outside and was just busy working when she came home. Zhang Xiaoxiao hugged her second sister. Although it was already the 1980s, the society in the 1980s was not that tolerant of divorced people. Zhang Xian naturally has to bear a lot. Second sister, have you ever thought about not working in the factory? Zhang Xiaoxiao thought about what Zhang Xian should do. The factory in Jiangxin is in a slump, but now it is still doing well. However, in a few years, we will eventually embark on the road of nationalized asset restructuring. This kind of reform will inevitably cause a large number of employees to face layoffs. Those like Zhang Xian will definitely be laid off. Instead of waiting until then to make a living on their own, it is better to leave in advance. Zhang Xian shook her head. If you don't work in the factory? How could I not work in the factory? How can I support these 2 children? At least I can get 30 yuan for a month of work now. You are so stubborn. A monthly salary of 30 yuan in the factory is nothing. You haven't seen that my uncle's own store's monthly income is thousands of yuan. Zhang Xiaoxiao smiled. You really can't blame Zhang Xian. In this era, everyone is proud to be holding an iron rice bowl. Who can earn a dead wage and live like this for generations? Who is not like this? When you are old and about to retire, let your children take over the job. Every household is like this, and it would be too embarrassing for her to suddenly ask her sister to think ahead. Jang Xian sighed, that's my uncle. I can compete with him. This is what my uncle does. He has resources, connections, and he can speak well. Even if you ask me to do it, I can't do it. I saw people who couldn't even open their mouths, so they were destined to be workers for the rest of their lives. That's not true, second sister, you can't look down on yourself too much. You also have many advantages. You and my uncle are different people. My uncle can speak well and has his own connections, but you are not bad either. You can make clothes. If I remember correctly. Your skills in making clothes are really good. Look at the windbreaker I asked you to make for me. You can help me make all the changes I asked for after listening to it once. The finished dress is not missing even an inch, it fits very well, and the workmanship is good. Many female classmates in our school always ask me if they can use this master to make clothes. Even if they just spend a little more money, they are happy. This is a ready source of customers. Think about it. Since you have such good craftsmanship, why not do it yourself? You can only earn a little money in a factory and open a store on your own. Now as long as you make good things, you won't have to worry about sales. You can even cooperate with your uncle. My uncle's shop sells everything. When the time comes, you can also make some ready-made clothes, put them up for sale, and give your uncle a share of the profits after selling them. Think about it for yourself. This way you don't need to listen to other people's gossip, and you can earn more. Zhang Xiaoxiu's words made Zhang Xian hesitate. The main reason is that she is not happy working in the factory now. Every day she goes there, she hears everyone's gossip. If she really had a way to earn money to support herself and her children, she would not want to go to the factory. Those women were sitting there chatting after work, gossiping about this family and the length of that family. But if she was asked to go it alone, she felt scared. After all, I have never done this kind of thing before. I can get a fixed salary every month. If I am used to it, sudden changes will make people worry about the future. Zhang Xiaoxiao was a little moved when he saw his second sister. Wink at the eldest sister. Zhang Yuaner, this sister is quirky and can come up with any ideas. Zhang Xian, you should think about it. I think this idea that Xiaoxiao came up with is not bad. Many people in our school asked me about the pants and clothes you made for me last time. Otherwise, if you are afraid that if you lose your job, you will lose your iron rice bowl, you can do this first. I still go to your class during the day. When you get home from get off work, we will help you take some orders from outside. If you work for a while and feel that the money you earn can indeed support yourself and your children, then prepare to go out on your own when the time comes. This also has a guarantee. Of course, Xiaoxiao and I can only help you develop your initial customer base. Whether you can attract repeat customers in the future depends on your own skills. Zhang Yu's statement was immediately recognized by Zhang Xian. Okay, eldest sister, little sister, I will give it a try, don't worry, I will definitely do a good job. You must not let these guests down, and no matter what you say, you can't ruin the reputation of the two of you. With a cheerful smile on his face, it would be really happy if he could make money with his own craft. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 570. Chapter 570 The Tragedy of Qin Dazhuang. Zhang Xiaoxiao returned to school. Wang Huan, Zhang Xuan, I would like to ask you for some help. Zhang Xiaoxiao felt that if she asked her second sister to start making clothes, she should make high-end clothes. It's not that the second sister is not allowed to do ordinary things, but the circle Zhang Xiaoxiao wants to introduce to Zhang Xian is different, and he wants the second sister to take the high-end route from the beginning. In the future, I will also improve my craftsmanship. The vision is different, the requirements are different, and the value of self-realization is also different. The groups of people you come into contact with will also be very different. The second sister can hire others to make the clothes that low-end ordinary people wear when she gets bigger in the future. After all, Zhang Xiaoxiu's vision was based on the next few decades. She felt that since she was going to start a business alone, she naturally had to consider the future and not just be limited to the present and be a rigid tailor. In the future, when clothing factories go on the market in large quantities, these small tailors will also be starved to death. The so-called tailors will either go to the factory assembly line, or go the route of designers and high-end customization. Zhang Xiaoxiao gave Zhang Xian a good start in advance. People like Wang Huan and Zhang Sun are in a fixed circle. These people's families are not short of money, and their social status is very high. They are very persistent and strict about their dress requirements. Dr. Zhang, you never ask for help, but you can actually ask us to help you. Just say it, say it. Just because you opened your mouth like this today, I will do anything for you. Even if you can't do it, I will do it. We can do it. Otherwise, it would be a waste for us, Dr. Zhang, to ask for help this time. Wang Huan has always looked like a ruffian. Zhang Sun was also surprised. Are you having some trouble at home? Dr. Song can't help you solve it? Then I think you should throw away this Dr. Song. Why don't you consider a few of us? We all have good family backgrounds. I don't care if you are divorced and have a child. Don't worry, we all regard Xiao Tangyuan as our own. You can tell who you choose. This joke was met with a look of 300 degrees below zero. I'm afraid of you, I'm afraid of you. Dr. Song, your eyes are like a scalpel. The knife is going to kill me. How dare I someone from you? I know she is your wife, but your wife asked for help. I just feel embarrassed for you. Behind Zhang Sun's serious attitude is a cheeky joke. Okay, don't be kidding me. I know we are going to hold the year-end school celebration soon. We are about to be in our junior year this year. I heard you all say a few days ago that when we are going to go out to make clothes, we must put on our own clothes. Dress up to look stunning. My second sister is a tailor, so I would like to introduce you to our tailor. This business doesn't go to outsiders. Of course, I can't say that my second sister's craftsmanship will definitely satisfy you, but you can make a suit first and see if it's good. If you think it's good, you can go to my sister. Zhang Xiaoxiao began to promote vigorously. Wang Huan rolled his eyes. Dr. Zhang, you are really good. Okay, okay, for the sake of your second sister, I will definitely do it. I just want to make a suit. I have to go out to attend the award ceremony. If damn it. Hee, Dr. Zhang, you owe Dafa a favor. I know, Dr. Wang, if you do well, I tell you, you also owe me a big favor. Then you have to help my sister promote it? Zhang Xiaoxiao nodded and bowed like a bitch. It made a lot of people laugh. So from this day on, every day after school, Zhang Xiaoxiao led a large group of people back to her parents' home. Let Zhang Xian help them measure the size. Of course they brought all the fabrics themselves, so they would be like today's tailors. In order to expand her second sister's ideas, Zhang Xiaoxiao helped her explain some of the popular clothing styles of later generations. This way, the second sister can use it and draw a simple picture. For a while, Zhang Xian was as busy as a spinning top. After working during the day, when I got home at night, I would stay alone in the room and cut and make clothes. These fabrics are all made of fine materials, and Zhang Xian was afraid that one of them would accidentally destroy them. For the sake of Zhang Xiaoxiao and Zhang Yu, she had to help them make these clothes, otherwise she would not be able to let her sisters help her. Qin Dazhuang has been having a bad life recently. He works in a factory. Because of his divorce, many people are paying attention to him now. The little money I earned was lost in gambling within 2 days. After his wife and children left him, the house became a cold pot and a cold stove. Qin's mother went back to her hometown and said why she had to find him a wife, so she was not at home at all. Qin Dazhuang didn't go play cards today. He owed others 300 or 400 yuan, and he still didn't have the money to pay back. After going out, how can I see anyone? Besides, my pocket is cleaner than my face, and I don't have a penny. It's just the beginning of the month, and I already don't have a penny. When I got home, I rummaged through the drawers and found only a handful of dried noodles. It was cooked simply, and I only found a little salt and no other seasonings. I just ate a tasteless meal and lay down directly on the bed. Qin Dazhuang felt desolate in his heart, if he had thought it didn't matter before. Since no one cares about it now, you can play whatever you want, but when a person calms down like this, he feels so pitiful. Remembering that in the past, I despised my 2 daughters as losers. But every time his 2 daughters saw him, they would rush up to him with smiles and wanted to play with his father. Zhang Xian will also prepare delicious meals and wait for him to come home, wash his clothes and tidy up everything in the house. But when did these days all change? Now I am living alone. There is no food to eat, no wife and children. He didn't know why he was so obsessed with gambling. He was obviously not that kind of person. He used to laugh at people like that. He felt that those people had no ambitions and had no ability except playing cards, and they played so big, often going bankrupt. The most shameful person in his eyes. But in the end, he became such a person. Although he has not gone bankrupt, he is still homeless now. The reason why the family is falling apart is because of his gambling. He also thought about quitting. When he swore to divorce, he wanted to quit and wanted Zhang Xian to see a reformed man. But for some reason, he couldn't walk when he saw other people playing cards. Road. The man's mind felt like he was possessed, as if a hand was tickling his heart, directly attracting his whole body. Qin Dazu lay on the bed, covering his face and crying bitterly. Men shouldn't cry, and they shouldn't shed tears if they bleed, but he really felt too sad and sad. He once had a happy family like a man, a gentle and lovely wife, and innocent and happy children, but now, he has nothing. Besides being in debt, apart from this cold home, apart from being laughed at and ridiculed by others, no one thinks highly of him. Qin Dazhuang thought, what's the point of living? End of this chapter.